Unite us. Unite the clans.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. So you ever heard the phrase, "you're a rotten apple"? What does that mean? Well, it means that if you have a rotten apple inside a bushel of apples, well, all of them start to go bad real fast. And that's what happens also with communism. It happens with the cancer of communism inside of our nation. You can see here that America is a wonderful, beautiful, ruby red country with little blue specks of cancerous communism sprinkled throughout. Just teeny little dots here and there. But unfortunately, those little dots can grow and can destroy places. Like right here. Here's where I'm from. You see, this is Chicago. Chicago isn't really that big of a place. There's only a few counties. Cook County right here is like the big Chicago county. But it turns the entire giant state of Illinois blue. It changes the lives for all of these people. It's like a cancer, and it spreads into Wisconsin and into Iowa. It's terrible. That's what Chicago does for us. Look at Michigan. Michigan ain't a blue state. It's a red state. But this little area of Detroit, man, it spreads, and that cancer spreads, and it turns these nice little ruby red counties, it turns them nasty. It's a rotten apple. That's what's happening over here, too, in the state of Portland. There are some super based right-wing people in Portland, some really wonderful patriots that live there. I know them. But the city of Portland, right there, the city of Portland has destroyed the entire state. It's a laughingstock. It's embarrassing to be part of a city that is so crime-ridden and so filled with rampant homelessness and drug abuse. All drugs are legal, so what do you expect to happen? It's a hellhole. And I know this because I've been there and I've done documentaries on Portland. I've walked the streets. Look at this. I just typed in Portland streets, and these are the images that I get. Portland streets. Look at this. You too could go pay way too much money and way too much taxes to go live next to this nice person. Right here. Under a bridge. There you go. That could be your neighbor. The guy with the tattoo of the person with a machete. I'm sure he's gonna be a great. Yeah, leave the kids with him. That's why there's a movement right now to break counties from Oregon's red part of its state, which is the vast majority of the state, off, and for those counties to go join Idaho, which is a nice little peaceful state. Very beautiful state, actually. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. The Crook County Court voted today to put the Greater Idaho on the May 2024 ballot. Hot damn. Here's the news.
The Greater Idaho movement has secured another win in eastern Oregon. Voters in Wallowa County approved a move to merge with Idaho.
The vote will not require a recount. It passed by a mere 7 votes, which was right on the cusp there. Wallowa County is now the 12th rural Oregon county to approve the merger with Idaho.
Yeah, die mad, dude. So, yeah, this is a movement that is catching fire right now. Look at the size of this thing. Check out the size of it. Here's the reporting from Fox News. Rural Oregon movement to join Greater Idaho gains traction with 12th county. Several conservative Oregon counties are looking to break away from the progressive state. Hell yes. Voting next on joining Idaho. That's the little green one. Voting in favor of joining Idaho. These are the red ones. Look at the size of it. Wow. This would make a bad new state. And Oregon is trash. Wallowa County became the 12th Oregon county to join the Greater Idaho movement. Special election results were measured and finalized on Tuesday. The vote originally took place in May. Preliminary results showing support for the effort, leading by just a few votes. It was finalized, and it passed. The Greater Idaho effort originally began in 2020. The idea of a large swath of rural Oregon counties will secede and join Idaho, a conservative state in the West. The Wallowa County vote, 12 out of 12 counties have had their election on a Greater Idaho measure of any kind voted in favor of exporting the move. So they're winning. Support for the proposal in the Idaho legislature for formal talks between the two states' legislatures about redrawing the border has been split across party lines. Democrats opposing the ideas and Republicans applauding it, of course, because Republicans are the ones who actually make the money in every state and everywhere. Democrats are the proverbial bad apples. I'm very pleased with this measure. Has virtually no chance of advancing into reality, says Democrat Idaho Senate Minority Leader, it would be bad for all involved and bad for the country. Die mad! Ladies and gentlemen, people are very supportive of this, and of course, why wouldn't you be? You should want to live inside of a state with sanity, and we are the majority in these places. You guys can have your hellhole cities. Stop making us pay for them. You know all those tent cities in Portland? Those are all paid for by the people in this part of Oregon. Not the freeloader, druggies, criminals, and communists inside of Portland. For more on this, check out an in-depth report from local news. This is going to be fun.
McCaw believes that if you've lived in Oregon for any amount of time, you can see the east side of the state can be quite different than the west.
For a very long time, there's been this urban-rural divide, and people on the east side of the state have felt like their state-level government has not heard them, has not understood their way of life, their values, their problems.
And that's why a couple years back, a group of people began discussing a new idea.
We started going county by county in Eastern Oregon and asking voters directly, do you want your elected leaders to look into moving the border?
McCaw, a spokesperson for the Greater Idaho Movement, says their plan was originally met with skepticism.
When we started this 2 years ago, I would get that a lot, like, well, this will never happen. Why are you wasting your time?
But he says that sentiment is changing. Several Eastern Oregon counties voted to discuss moving the border, and now resolutions are up for a vote in both the Oregon and Idaho legislatures. In Idaho Wednesday, the House approved the measure following testimony this week.
We want to see the kind of law that reflects faith, family, moral virtue, self-reliance, hard work, the things that Idaho is based on.
Why wouldn't we at least want to have a conversation about increasing the size of our state?
Not everyone was in favor, as expressed by the House Minority Leader.
Have got to learn to get along better and work together better. The answer cannot be to just start carving up the country and redrawing lines that have been in place for a century or more, just so that we can only be surrounded by people that perfectly agree with us.
The vote itself doesn't change the border. Full approval by both chambers in both states simply opens the door for serious conversation between the two states about moving the border.
I think people in the metropolitan areas tend to look at it in the paper and get a good chuckle out of it. But the fact of the matter is, people in Eastern Oregon are dead serious.
Former candidate for governor Betsy Johnson is now a KGW political analyst. She says while it's far from a done deal, the discussion of Greater Idaho raises real questions and concerns.
Quit treating the symptoms, get at the root problem, and try to figure out why would a portion of Oregon want to leave here? What has made it so bad that they are prepared to go through the administrative and expense and political hassle of trying to separate a piece of Oregon and move it into Idaho?
Now, in addition to the many technical things that would need sorting out should something progress further down the line, Johnson tells me losing a chunk of the state to neighboring Idaho could have a chilling effect on economic development in Oregon and, in her words, be a national embarrassment with so many dissatisfied here. To be clear, even if we get to the point where both state legislatures agree on moving the border, Congress must also approve it.